that him?
The last emperor. Hardcore, rough, rugged, and raw.
Letting people know you better not sleep
on this joint. We gon' slow it down and change direction from passive aggressive to the anger method. Good family asking me the favorite question.
So I'm moving on a little bit here. So I understand. I don't know how this probably isn't the freshest news, but I understand you had a brief stint on Aftermath.
Yeah.
With Dr. Dre. I was just curious, like how'd that come about?
Yeah.
And like what initiated the split? Like I know you had this one line, I can't recall exactly, but it was something like yeah, I was all about my business and they were about like partying and whatnot.
Right.
I mean, I'm not trying to slight them by any means, but I'm just kind of curious. That was always something that I've always wanted to ask you.
Exactly. Well, what happened was, again, another benefit of going to Lincoln University. A good friend of mine's, Dame Dollars. Shout out to Dame Dollars if you happen to ever catch wind of this. He, when we were leaving Lincoln, he told me he had heard my demo. He was like, I can't promise you anything, but after I leave school, I'm going out to California to work on videos for Dr. Dre. Now, I can't promise you anything, but I can take your demo out there and I can see that he hears it. So I was like, all right, cool, that's what's up. Dre is definitely one of the biggest pioneers in this art form.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And I always dug everything he did since NWA to working with the DOC, and I always knew that he had an ear for working with good MCs.
Definitely.
You know what I mean? Especially from working with the DOC. I was a huge DOC fan growing up. So he took the demo. He kept his Dame Dollars kept his word. He took the demo out to Cali with him. And the next thing I know, Dr. Dre called my house like, yo, this is Dre, homie. I'm feeling your stuff. I want to get you out to Cali. And the rest was history. I went out, flew out to Cali. And signed to Aftermath Records, Aftermath, which is a subsidiary of Interscope Records. And, pretty much, I think at that time, one would have to also go back and look and see where Dr. Dre was at a turning point in his career. He had just left Death Row Records.
So what's like the approximate date of all this now?
This is like, we're talking 1990, late. I think we first started talks with Aftermath in like 98. So from like 98 to like 2000, like 98 to 2000 was like my Aftermath era. He flew us out there. It was all good. Dre was very hospitable. Real calm dude. And again, coming off of the whole experience with Death Row Records, what he told me was like, look, I'm looking to go a different direction with the music, not necessarily compromise the aggressiveness, but not the quote-unquote gangster rap, and I want to, I'm feeling your style. You're a very imaginative type of artist. And I want to sign you, and let's make music. And at that time, I think, and looking back, at the time it was like while you're in the midst of the eye of the storm, your emotions are involved, so you're not really looking at it in the most rational way.
Sure.
So after it was all over, I got to go back and examine what had happened. And I honestly think Dre just signed a whole bunch of artists that he really admired their talent, but didn't have the time at that time to really concentrate on one or even two or three, because there were a lot of us at that time. It was myself, it was myself. I think now sometimes I'm not sure who came first between Slim Shady and me, but I know we were both there at the same time. Dawn Robinson from Invo, RBX was on the label. Eve, who went on to have success with the Rough Riders, was on the label. There were like 3 or 4 other R&B groups. It was a King T. There were a lot of us there.
Yeah, he's spreading the seeds.
We all started getting frustrated. Like, yo, we're not. I would go to the studio maybe once a week. And he had me like kind of politicking and working with some of the producers under him. But I wanted that hands-on, mano a mano sort of work that, I signed on for.
Right,
so,
right.
I never forget, there was like, there was a situation where this same night, myself, Eve, and Scott Storch, this was the same night that Dr. Dre first met Scott Storch. I was there that night, and I literally saw him bang out, play on the piano for Dre right then and there and show him what his talent was all about. And Eve and myself, we just went to Dre like, look, we're not satisfied with, the level of progression that our projects are taking. So, like, what's up? Like, don't hold us back. If you're not going to work with us right now, then let us know, and we can go and explore some other avenues. So, what I always respected about him was that he kept it 100% real with us and was like, look, I got my plate full right now. Your projects may not come out for another 2-3 years, if then. So I'm not going to hold you up. If you feel like you need to part ways and go elsewhere, so be it. So myself, I knew that I just couldn't be stifled, and I respected him for being that forthright and that upfront and honest with us. So I chose to go elsewhere.
Without a doubt, man. Yeah, man. So kind of based on your experiences with these labels here, because you were with Aftermath, you signed to Raucous.
Right.
Beyond that,
Right.
it's kind of saying like, what you decided to go your own route. You made this Red Planet Music Corporation. You got your own label going and whatnot right now. I was just kind of curious what you intended on accomplishing with that. What kind of artists are you trying to promote? Your brother's involved, correct?
Yeah. Well. My brother in the struggle, Q, was actually he handled a lot of the business affairs that I was dealing with from my inception into professional recording, And as you grow as an artist and as a man and as an individual, you begin to assume a lot of these responsibilities for yourself.
Right.
And so now I just feel, I can't say that I'm 100% self-contained, artist and unit where I don't need any assistance in terms of some of the legalities and paperwork and things of that nature that come along with the business. Because one thing I know is that sometimes in order to free yourself in the realm of being an artist, you can't be bombarded and have your mind cluttered with, okay, I have to make a deadline in terms of this paperwork, and I have to, finish these spreadsheets, and I have to be, you kind of spread yourself thin, and it kind of takes away from concentrating on the art, So, again, I do have my own little imprint. One thing that I came away with from, being exposed to the more corporate side of being a recording artist, is the Red Planet situation. And, I'm not where I want to be in terms of even having a flagship where I can sign a whole bunch of artists and things of that nature. But, just to have something of my own where it gives me my own mobility and, but still be sort of somewhat within the corporate realm and, just have an imprint that I can go to and get some things accomplished. So, with that, I'm just right now concentrating on the Red Planet Science team, and the new project, which is a follow-up to Music Magic Myth. This is the second installment, which is going to be a trilogy. I always knew with albums and with The Last Emperor, I wanted to have a trilogy. So Music Magic Myth was the first installment. The Wizard's Wardrobe is going to be the second installment. And what this does now is it introduces the Red Planet Science team. And so now people have an opportunity. The first album was my showing people sort of the mythos and the abilities of the Last Emperor.
You saw me, man. I'll tell you that much.
Yeah, so now this time around I want to show people some of the actual missions that I embark on, and the team that kind of helps me do what I do.
Right.